This is Complicated Fred. I'm going to show you how to do stuff while I talk about things that you're probably not terribly interested in, but I am. Today, I'm creating bats for making a felted sheep rug out of a poor quality Gulf Coast native fleece that I bought last year to apply to an already partially felted new fleece I just got for this purpose. In my Fiber Arts blog, Ariadne's Clue, I detail the trials and tribulations that I've suffered over the past year with this original fleece, which I'll be processing today. The fleece has dirty tips and canary stains. It also has a really dry and brittle texture. I used a box picker earlier to try to open up the locks, and now I'm going to use first the hand carders, then the drum carder to create a bat to use for the underside of the new fleece. This is the whole reason I got the drum carder, because I'm 52 years old and I have arthritis. Which brings me to something that I would like to talk about. My most recent obsession, and really, I say that, but it's not true. Okay, so the Odyssey has been an obsession for me for a really long time. And now we have this movie out, and we've got attention on Emily Wilson's translation, which I have never liked. But she has done some really incredible things with it, like, pointing out that the maids were not, in fact, maids. They are slave women who had no choice in the matter of what they were doing. And she also talks about how previous translators, when Penelope is opening up a storage room or closet or whatever, they translate kratere keri as a thick or a fat hand. Now, from what little experience I've had doing this, I can tell you for a fact that her translation, strong hand, is in fact far more appropriate, because this is hard to do. It's hard to do, and afterwards, my hands really hurt a lot. So I'm breaking it up, making it a lot looser than it was. It's also full of neps. I mean, this is just really crappy wool, but I'm going to be felting it, so I'm okay with that. It's not that I've been obsessed with the Odyssey, it's that I've been obsessed with the ancient world since I was a child. I absolutely hated the Odyssey the first time I encountered it in my 10th grade English class, because it was awful. And when the time came after beginning Greek, our first introductory literature class, translation class, sorry, was the Odyssey. And it was not the same literature at all in English as it was in Greek. In English, I had no idea why we were studying it. It seemed terrible, just, people wandering around, being lost and killing other people, and then killing lots of other people once he finally gets home. But one of the first things you learn when you take an intermediate Greek class, and it's the Odyssey that you're studying, you learn pronunciation, you learn the meter, and then you learn the first 10 lines of that poem in the original language. And that, I have to say, kind of hooked me. I no longer remember all of them. I do remember the first 2 lines. The third line always trips me up. The first 2 lines, it's Andromoyen pemusa polutrabanus malapola. Plante pe troye sieran talie sane persa. Can't remember the third line. I get bits and pieces, but can't remember the third line. Polytropos. Okay? That word that Emily Wilson translated as complicated, which, that sort of set off a storm. Her translating it, I mean, honestly, just with one word was heretical. Most translators use more than one complete phrase for that one word in Greek, which is actually kind of why I don't like Emily Wilson's translation, because she decided that she was going to translate the Greek into an English poem with the same number of lines. And I think that constriction really introduced a poverty of expression that the original Greek absolutely does not have. So the actual point to this was, yes, I have for a very long time been interested in the ancient world. But the funny thing is, what actually got me interested in fiber arts was a book that I read about women and women's work in the ancient world. It just amazed me to see what women in the ancient world did. Because we hear so little about them in ancient literature that it's like, okay, what were they doing? Why did they have all these slaves? What was going on? As it turns out, they were constantly spinning, constantly processing wool, and constantly weaving. Because that's how cloth was made, and everybody needs clothes and sails and sheets, and just, it's kind of a necessity, and that's all women did. Even the higher ups, even the queens, would weave still and use their spindles. I don't think they usually say spindle and actually the scene where Telemachus tells his mother to shut up and go back to your women's work, I believe he says distaff and loom. And I don't know if that's a translation issue, because men are not familiar with fiber arts and woolworking, because it just seems sort of weird that they mention distaff but not a spindle, because spindle's where the work is done. And so what this book had in it was actual drawings that Heinrich Schliemann made when he excavated the city of Troy. And when I read this book, I saw these whorls. I decided I want to try that. I have no idea what that really is, because I had never really heard, I had never really conceived what any of this was before. This was about 9 years ago that I started getting interested in it. And at the time, I bought a wooden spindle, and I painted it in one of the patterns that I saw on the Schliemann's spindle whorls. So when I started up again last year, what I did is, instead of painting a spindle, I made my own. Not sure you can see it. And I actually looked it up on the internet and got images, photos of actual whorls in museums. And I patterned this. I used, I forget the name of the clay. It's not modeling clay. It's that other stuff that you can bake. And it's actually the best spindle I've ever had because it just spins. It's amazing. But that is actually the origin story of me and fiber arts. It's far older than most people have any idea that it is. And this bat is coming out terrible, and I just don't know what to do with this wool, and I know it's this wool because when I work with other wool, it's not this terrible. Like I said, okay, maybe I didn't say that before, but it's like cotton. It has the consistency of cotton candy without the stickiness. It's just bizarro. I don't know if it's the breed or it's just a bad batch of Gulf Coast native. So now I'm gonna pull this off. Well, not pull, but pull. And run it through again. It's some kind of lumpy. Even with the hand carding and the picking. And this is like just the weirdest thing about it is this is so hard for me to deal with. And when I bought Shetland, a whole Shetland fleece a year ago, it took me an entire year to get through it because I have a full-time job. But also, I didn't do any fiber prep to it at all. Like, okay, yes, I scoured it. And all the little nappy bits just got put in. And it's made an interesting yarn. Not as strong as I need now that I'm interested in actually weaving for a warp yarn anyway. It'll be fine as a weft. But that wool was just gorgeous. And this is just weird cotton candy with no sugar in it. And lots of nets and black strings from all the dirty tips. But you can see how dirty and lumpy it still is, and I really don't know what to do about this, which is why I'm happy to actually just felt it. Here we have last year's Gulf Coast native fleece, the one that I've been working with, and how it looks like a really dirty shag carpet. Even after scouring, I had the dirty tips. Even after picking it, I had the dirty tips. Even after hand carding, there were definitely still dirty tips. And now here it is. Some of the works that I used to make this video are Homer's Odyssey in the original Greek, Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey, women's work, the first 20,000 years, women, cloth, and society in early times, and also the Fleece and Fiber Source Book, more than 200 fibers from animal to spun fiber.